Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you both of my pan car setups from the last Park Lane Trophy race, the Cup race of 2026. There were a couple of different setup changes I made throughout the weekend, so I just want to share those with you guys, and hopefully you guys can test these setups out as well and see what you like and don't. But with all that said, let's just jump right into it. Okay, so here are the cars that I ran at Park Lane. On the left is the open pan car, the modified class, and then on the right is the open 2500 stock pan car class. We will go from slow to fast, so let's go ahead and start with this one. This is an SRA rule set class. I think last year it was an exhibition class and then it became an official class this year. So it's rule set specific, but I think this class is growing a lot, which is great. It's doing like a nice bridge between lipo stock racing and helping people get into modified racing, which I like. So hopefully that trend continues. The body that I used is a rad body skillet. I tested the lightweight version of the GK pan body, and it was quick, but I wanted to use race paint, so I stuck with the skillet. The car did great. The results were qualifying second on the grid and second overall in the main. So starting with the front end. The front end is pretty aggressive as opposed to the modified car. I'm running the softest spring in the front, the red. I added a 1mm shim underneath the knuckle, so that's what that blue collar is there. The knuckles are 2 degrees, and I'm also running a 1.5mm shim between the turnbuckle and knuckle. So the standard is 2 mil, and the standard is also no shim underneath that knuckle there. The front tire is a KSK 35 degree PN tire, and these are from the race set tire, the new RTRC product. So they are pre-glued. I didn't do anything to them. They were fresh out of the package, and I've used them for quite some time. They were not new when I used them for the Park Lane race. I got them back in the Northeast PN regionals and used them for that weekend of racing. Then I used them for a bunch of club races, and then I used them all weekend for the Park Lane race. And you can tell because the sidewall is 11. So I have one more sidewall disc to go, and then I would officially got my money's worth from these things. So that's pretty sweet. Some, in hindsight, what I would have done with the front end is calm it down a little bit more. I gotta test more with this. The grease I used in the front is the Kyosho 15,000K yellow grease. And that's pretty much it for the front end. The middle of the car, we've got the Hobby Wing speed controller, a Marca hard case battery. The top shock spring is the stock green one that comes with the kit. And this dampening, along with the side dampers, I used the same as what I used in the front. So 15,000 Kyosho grease, the yellow grease all around. For the battery, I understand that in the States, it's very difficult to get a hold of not only Marca batteries, but like other Marca products. So I'm not going to pretend like this is something easy to get. I highly recommend these new, I don't even know if these are new, they might have been out for a while, but the 450 Silver Horse batteries are also great. So if you can't get a hold of these, just grab this. It worked fine as well. And then, so underneath the rear roll center of the car, I used the middleman piece. So the lowest is 2mm, the highest is 4. I used the 3mm roll center piece. both the piece that goes here, and then you shim it to match on this side. I think that for stock racing, the 3mm is your best bet. It kind of makes the car agile, and you get a lot of good corner speed with it. So I highly recommend it. The rear pivot springs, it's hard to see them, they're hidden back there, but they're the stock green ones. So there's a lot, like in the middle of the car, it's very stock. The front end, of course, I made some changes, but I would definitely recommend starting this if you want to run like a 2500 class, whether it's blinky or open. I start out with stock all around, and then you could play around and work your way towards something like this. I think probably the more unorthodox part of this car and setup is in the back here. You could see this is not like your run-of-the-mill diff. It's not a diff at all. It's just a homemade spool. And if you guys are interested, I can make a video on how I made this. But you could probably tell just by looking at it, it only takes 4 parts to make it. So I think this is a PN shaft, and then I have 2 of these Xbility hubs to hold the wheels. You need it for this side too, and then a 1/12 scale or a 1/10 scale pinion gear, and then that's just like a 2mm bearing to make sure that the spacing is even on both sides. And it worked out really well for me over the weekend. I will make a disclaimer here that this type of setup, although very quick, it requires you to be on the throttle. Like, you should never fully lift with the way I set the car up. And if you're used to like a traditional ball differential or gear differential, then I think a great option is to like have like a 51 or 52 tooth spur, and then maybe like anywhere from a 16 to 19 tooth pinion gear, and it'll feel, I think, pretty similar to this car. But if you do want to try making your own spool and going down to this, I think this, yeah, 47, this is a 47 tooth gear. I could not let off. I had to stay on the throttle the whole time. The moment I let off completely, the car would misbehave a little bit. So a couple people tried my car at the track, and they hated it. Like, it was also pretty aggressive. Like, it was very on the nose. So what I highly encourage is, if you do want to make this, just give it some time, practice with it, and then I think in time you'll like driving with it. But because I was able to get this 47 tooth gear, I ran a 20 tooth pinion gear. This is an atomic pinion gear. And then finally, the motor is a V4 PN motor. And the story behind this motor is, I don't know who the original owner is. I could guess and speculate, but all I know is that this motor came from the World Cup. Whoever had it gave it to someone, and that person gave it to me. So I'm the third owner of the motor. I don't think it's ever been like opened up or tuned. It still has the seal right here, but I could be wrong. It's all I know is like it can take this gearing and it's fine. So that's why I ran the motor. What I wanted to test out was this combo, and I had very limited time and experience with this. This is an MC1 speed controller, and this is a Silverhorse Colt 25 motor. It has a torque rotor in it for the open gear class, but for the gearing that I was trying to get, this got pretty hot. So this is pretty insane gearing, honestly, and I think this would still be super competitive with a slightly smaller pinion gear than what I was running, and a slightly larger spur gear. But I still want to make this combo work. If anyone has suggestions, please let me know in the comments. But yeah, I stuck with what was safe. There was only one race out of all the qualifying that this motor got hot. and that was because I had the wrong turbo and boost settings. My teammate Nick, he told me basically that PN motors really only get like a total of like 25 to 30 degrees of time in. So it isn't worth it really going above that. So I turned those settings down, and the car was just as fast as it was with the original settings, and the motor stayed cool. The heatsink was just like an insurance thing. I don't really know if it helped, but yeah, that's pretty much it. The ride height of the car, it started at 2 millimeters of ride height, but because of the tire wear, it got to around 1.8, and then it got as low as 1.4, I think, because I wasn't paying attention to ride height adjustment. Shame on me. But yeah, anywhere from 1.7 to 2 is really good. The rear tires, sorry, I didn't talk about those yet. They are Marca. They were radials. They were a rear radial Marca 15 degree. And I've had these tires for a lot of club racing, and they've gotten worn down to slicks. And then a local at my local track, he showed me how he regrooves his tires. He just uses this soldering iron tip, and he leaves the wheels on his car, and he could have like someone else pull the throttle, and then he just like sears however many lines he wants into the tires, and the car came back alive. It took some practice for me to try and replicate that, but yeah, I was able to use this one set of tires the whole weekend, which was great. So I'm definitely getting my money's worth out of tires now. And of course, this doesn't apply to blinky, lipo stock, fixed gear classes, because people want rollout, they want a higher tire diameter. So, you know, when it comes to if it's like open gear or modified racing, this is great. But I know that it's probably not appealing to majority of stock racing and stock racers. So again, it's just like one little thing that I like about this class as well. I don't have to worry about rollout. And because this PN motor can take the heat, I don't have to worry about trying to tune a motor or shimming a motor. I made it work. I was able to be pretty competitive, I think. And in this class, when like the top three qualifiers, Joe, myself, and Enzo, we all had different motors, which is a good sign. I think that goes to show that as long as you kind of like build the car around you and what you like, you can be competitive. So yeah, that's basically it for the 2500 class. Let's go ahead and talk about the open mod pan car class. This body is a GK pan car body, and I did practice with the rad body Ocho because it's legal in SRA rules, but I went back to this just for continuity, honestly. Melvin Velez Designs, he painted these bodies for me, and they're awesome. I wanted to run my race paint, so that was really why I stuck with them. This car did pretty well. I honestly think that I was missing something with the setup of this car, and there weren't that many people running open pan, so it was really hard to get a good benchmark. I did TQ and win overall, but I feel like the lap times could have been quicker, and I just need to kind of go back to the drawing board with this car in terms of maybe spring choice or grease, something. But I mean, regardless, the car was still super easy to drive. It was quick. I think I just need to unlock a little more corner speed out of it or something. But no, yeah, we'll start with the front end. I did numb this one down. This one's more stock than the 2500 car. It does have red springs in the front, and just like the 2500 car, the grease is 15,000 yellow Kyosho grease all around. There are no shims underneath the knuckles. The knuckles are 1 degree, you can see there. And it's your standard 2mm shim connecting the turnbuckle and knuckle, or in between the turnbuckle and knuckle. So pretty standard stuff. I have the wider front tires and rims on, the 11mm. I started the weekend, I think I only ran Q1 with this tire on it right now. This is a KS medium. That's just like the safe tire that I always start a big race weekend with. But a local at Park Lane, he wanted me to test a new part for him. And so I did. I ran the rest of my qualies and the mains with this wheel and tire combo. And it's essentially it's like the same track width and everything as this. But the tire is different. It's a KSK 40. And honestly, I think a KS medium, a KS firm, a KSK 35, and a KSK 40, all four of those tires I think are like a pretty good ballpark for any kind of setup that you're going to run at Park Lane Hobbies. And I enjoyed that a lot. I think any four of those tires, if you have them, you'll be able to make the car work for you. So yeah, those are the only two tires in the front that I was playing around with, and I used them the whole weekend. The same situation with electronics. I have a Hobby Wing Speedo and a Marca hardcase battery. The top spring here for the center shock is a GL spring. It's just because I don't have another RTA spring, but this one is very similar to the softness of the stock spring, so that's why I'm running that. The lower roll center, or the rear roll center, sorry, is in the lowest configuration, so this is the 2mm. It just keeps the car nice and stable. And I am using the stock rear pivot springs as well, the green. For motor, I'm using a 6500 kV Hobby Wing, and the brand new RTA ball diff that comes with the kit. And the rear tires were 11mm Marca 10 degrees. And again, they were rear radials, and they became slicks, so I used the soldering iron trick and regrooved them, and they came back to life. Oh, and the ride height is around 2mm, 1.8 to 2. The notes I have for both of these cars is basically like, well, one, I'm still learning setup. You know, the V3 is still pretty new, not only to customers, but also like team drivers. We're still trying to figure things out and really like unlock the potential in the car. Both were super fun to drive. I felt very competitive the whole weekend with these cars. I highly recommend everyone tries, if you run mod or an open gear class, try running these tires super low, as low as you can. Just make sure that as your rear tires get lower, you should stay on top of re-rounding the edge of them. So, re-grooving them, however you do that, you got to do that, but also the edge of the tire will obviously get sharper. So you have to like just go in with some sandpaper, hit the throttle as the wheel's spinning. I use this like 3M flimsy stuff here, and just to re-round the edge of the tire. And it just makes the car super easy to drive. You're not wasting money on so many tires, and you could focus on more things in your setup other than tire. I know tire is obviously always going to be like the most important thing, but it really is one less thing to worry about. If you just take care of them, they will last a long time, and you can enjoy running more laps with them. So yeah, that's pretty much it for the over the head view of these cars. If I missed anything, don't hesitate to reach out. If you want me to clarify anything, I'll be happy to do so. All right, so those were the car setups. If you notice anything that I missed out, please don't hesitate to ask for any clarifying questions or concerns. I'll try my best to answer them in the comments. Other than that, I'll see you guys in the next video. All right, take care.